Thanks for having me tonight, Cambridge. It's really good to see so many businesses here tonight, especially now in Mexico, because I'm a big fan of yours. If you want to do a contra, I can help you with social media.
See you next Friday. We are booked already for next Friday.
Something crossed my mind before I go into my presentation. I did a bit of work once with tailors in Savile Row. And one of the things they asked me was about their digital and how they can combine their digital with their physical store presence. So what I did, I actually went into the store where nobody knew that I was looking at anything. And when I went in there, I saw no reference to any kind of social media, no reference to any websites. I bought something, there's no reference to social media or website. And now I've taken a look at a lot of your websites today. And certainly the ones that are retailers, a lot of you, I'm aware you can buy online. Obviously you've got the voucher system and things like that. Now if we've got visitors coming to the city and they come, they use the maps and they come into your venues and buy products, then what's to stop them from inviting them to go to your online retailer and keep buying from you? So whilst I don't know sort of each of your venues and how you actually are doing that, communicating that with the customers, it might be worth doing a little bit of a self-evaluation of that. What we're going to be doing after this is there's going to be 4 half days which I'm going to be available to do hour slots with you guys. So I think Becky and the team are going to book in some slots for me to come to your businesses and actually sit down with you and hopefully go into a bit more detail of what we're talking about today, and maybe everybody in here is going to be different levels. Some of you are going to know an awful lot and be very active, and some of you, it might be sort of your first dabbles into social media. So I've got some pointers today to go through with you. Like I said, for some of you it might be a bit basic, for some of you it might be quite advanced, but hopefully it will be useful. As I go through, please do ask questions. If you have any points or questions you want to ask me as we go through, I'm here to to help you guys. And then maybe if there's quite a lot of things that you want that come to your mind, maybe make a note of them, book in a session with Becky and the team afterwards, and when I come to see you, we can really go through things in a lot more detail. So I'm going to run through a few things. Getting the best from social media, how we can use social media for our businesses to really make it work hard for your businesses. The Love Cambridge campaign and how you can use social to help promote that. I'm also going to touch on Google Business Listings and the benefits of that and how that can work well for you. And reviews, business reviews, and how that can have a big impact for your businesses locally. So, just starting with getting the best from social. One of the first things that we always advise people to do is consider using a social media management tool. For some of you that might seem obvious, but for a lot of people they're not familiar with social media management tools and how they can help. There are a number out there, things like Hootsuite, Sprout Social, Sendable, and a whole host more. They've all got pros and cons, but what I would say is most of them offer trials, so if you're not using social media management tools, it's worth trying some of these out to see which one's the most comfortable with. Is anybody using social media management tools at the moment? Yeah, a few of you. Shout out what you're using. Hootsuite.
I have used it in the past. I'm not using it currently, but I've used it.
I've used Hootsuite and I'm not using it now.
Okay, don't like it?
I didn't get on with it.
That's the thing with a lot of anything in social media. A lot of it's your personal relationship with either the networks or the softwares that you're using. Any others other than Hootsuite?
I use TweetDeck.
TweetDeck, yeah. Buffer, yeah, good one. Awesome. So a few of you are familiar with some of these social media management tools, but some of the good things about them are that it helps you to manage social networks in one place. Now, for those of you that are the business owners, if you've got staff that come in, you might not want to be giving out your passwords to your Facebook page, your Twitter page, your Instagram page. You might just want them to be able to access everything in one place, so it keeps it nice and simple. They allow you to schedule. Now, most of the social platforms now are enabling you to schedule, but it helps put everything in one place. Schedule. So, for example, if you've got a calendar of events that you're running in your venues, you might know that months in advance, so you can schedule it all with these social media management tools. So then you can forget about it, and those kind of tasks are done. So it helps tick the box for you there. Track performance, so we can look at metrics assigned to posts and what things are working well for us. and I'll go into a little bit more detail about tracking in a little while. And it's multi-user as well, so if you have got multiple staff members that will be accessing your social media channels, then they can all have logins and use it in that way. Okay, so setting objectives. Now, when I do a lot of these sessions, and most of the time, we do like full-day workshops, and we talk about objectives, and people go off in groups and do objectives. We're not going to do that today, but everybody always talks about sales. I want to get sales from my social media, but we need to look very much beyond that, because if you think how you react and how you engage with social media, how you interact with it, you don't want to be sold to all the time. It's really important. So it's about understanding your users. Think about things like CSR, corporate social responsibility, other independents in the area, what's on guides. So with your objectives, what I find is a really good way, when you're thinking about, or even if you're using social media actively now, is to find 3 or 4 objectives. Label them A to D, so that as you go on through your journey of creating a social strategy, you can reference your objectives to make sure that your posts are actually going to deliver something for you. And then as you review the performance, you can see, well, has it fulfilled that objective, yes or no? Am I wasting my time, yes or no? I know all of you are very busy. I'm sure you've all got lots of tasks to do, and social media is probably takes up a small part of your day at the moment. So it's really important that we're as efficient as possible with our social media communication. So having those objectives just keeps us on track, it keeps us in line, it keeps us understanding what our posts are, what are they for, and what are they going to achieve for our businesses. Okay. So picking networks. Now, there are so many social networks, and there are more coming, some going, like this one's just, I don't know whether anybody's used Google Plus, and had an email recently saying it's closing down. Yeah, some of you. The amount of people that have emailed me about this, thinking their Gmails are all going to go and all their websites are going to disappear, but it's a bit of a failed network. But there are loads and loads of social networks available to us, and the important thing here is that we don't overcommit, because we can jump on the bandwagon of a new fad social media. We might not understand it properly, we might not use it ourselves, our users might not be there, we have to evaluate that. So it's really important to pick 2, 3, maybe 4 social networks that you're comfortable with using, that are where your users are, and that can basically you're comfortable and happy posting on these channels. Who uses Facebook for their businesses? Show of hands. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Snapchat. Any others? Anyone's using? Pinterest. Yeah. Any others?
YouTube.
YouTube, yeah. What sort of things do you YouTube?
I'm from the Cambridge Arts Theatre, so it's sort of like trailers and like behind the scenes stuff.
Okay, cool. Interesting about YouTube is it's a search engine in itself. So good YouTube content can rank in Google when people are searching things. People also go to YouTube to search for information. So it can be a really good and useful platform. I think one of the challenges whenever I talk to people about YouTube is that they don't like the sound of their own voice, or they don't like being filmed or anything like that. It's a very common bit of feedback, but you just have to get out there and do it, because it can really have a good cut through for your business, and particularly being independent, it helps get that personality across and that personal brand, so that people when they walk into your venues, they know who you are, they've seen you before, and they feel comfortable buying from you. So you can't do them all. So a little summary here. Facebook is really, goes out saying it's great for the majority of business. Anybody done any Facebook ads before? Yeah, a few of you. Anybody had any successes with Facebook ads that pleased on with?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, for example, we promote a lot of like the battles and fireworks, like pumpkin during the May balls, and especially because we run the battles from May until end of September. And because this year, for the first time, we've completely just put on an ad for the battles. We've sold out
Yeah,
every single ticket.
brilliant. Any others?
Any new artwork that comes to the gallery, immediately people are notified and we get sales immediately.
And yeah, it's good. LinkedIn ads are really good for art and family as well, actually.
Okay.
But yeah, the Instagram. Sorry. The interesting thing again with Facebook is everybody puts their lives on there. So you know, we know what books people read. You know what time they're going to the toilet. You know how many children they've got. Everything is on there. So you can be really targeted with your ads with that. And you can also target geographically, so you can pull and invite people in to your events. So, for example, if with the Independence Day and with the Small Business Saturday stuff that happens within the bid, those might be opportunities for, you know, if you collectively start thinking about those kind of things, then you know it could really help and be beneficial for all of you using things like Facebook for ads. With Facebook ads, if you and with that as a network, if you are interested in doing the Facebook ads, make a note of it, and then if you do want one-on-one, I can talk you through. I can show you how to use the interface and how it all works, so you can create your own campaigns quite easily. It's really easy, it's straightforward, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to get some decent results. Twitter is very useful for engaging with the community and having conversations. Excuse me. Again, with Twitter, we can do things like targeting people within an area, targeting followers of similar businesses or businesses we like, so we can introduce new people to our brands and our businesses. So using hashtags. So anybody want to have a punt at what hashtag is? No one. Come on, surely.
Trending, term or phrase, identifies it as a common thread through people searching for something.
Like a reference sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably the best description for hashtags is kind of categorization of posts or pictures when you're using it for Instagram. So if there's a theme, there's people talking about a certain thing, using hashtags can help get involved with the theme. So obviously you've got the Love Independence campaign, which is going on now. That hashtag is great to use, and you should use it and get that out, but also using things like Cambridge, local business, things like that, because they are going to be, at this moment in time, more popular uses of hashtags, so the opportunity to get the exposure is going to be more as you grow the independence campaign out there. But certainly getting the habit of using it is good. With Twitter, the kind of the general rule is, well, Twitter's kind of like the guide has been written by its users rather than Twitter, but you really wouldn't have more than 3 or 4 hashtags. If you do, it looks ridiculously spammy. I don't know whether people have seen those tweets. It's like hashtag I, hashtag have, hashtag chicken, hashtag for, hashtag my dinner. You know, people that do that thinking that it's the right way there, we don't do that. So just like adding a couple of hashtags at the end of your posts, can help get some traction, can help introduce you to new people, and get some exposure for your businesses. Instagram, quick show of hands who's using Instagram again? I like Instagram. Instagram's one of my favourites. Show of hands whose favourite is Instagram? A few of you, good, excellent. So Instagram's nice, it's quite inoffensive. The reason why I like Instagram the most is because it's not too salesy. You know, you can see what's there, and if you like it, you can look into it more. Has anybody done anything with Instagram shopping or product tagging? Yeah? Yeah, so you can do product tagging in Instagram, you can do product tagging in Facebook, which is really useful, particularly if you use independents. Yeah.
I think Instagram's nice because nearly everyone on there is nice.
Oh, well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's a big statement.
On Twitter and Facebook, you get some really cool ones, more so on Facebook. But on Instagram, oh, that's a lovely picture. Oh, I love that. Rather than saying, oh, for heaven's sake,
Sure, down.
I do know what you mean. It's like you love a picture, you know, the hearts on there and stuff like that. So yeah, I
I feel a
understand.
little bit more nice.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
With the tagging,
Yeah.
for shopping, I don't really grasp how you do that, where you're directing people to. 'Cause
So-
it seems like it's big Facebook shopping.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not entirely sure what you do Facebook shop.
No, you should be able to tag in the URL point to products on your website. When if you book a session, make a note and we'll have a look at setting that up for you. But
Yeah,
the product tagging is really good, particularly if you've got lovely imagery and you can get your products to pop it with images, then it helps drive some of those sales.
yeah, so it's not very successful with our customers there, like that. And they
Yes.
love to just kind of click right through and people, well, they do anyway, because they know where our website is,
Yeah.
so it's easier for them to do that, and they can come and collect the store or whatever.
Yeah.
So-
Perfect, yeah.
I was really just going to ask about Instagram, the way that you say that grows, that knows what you're looking at, or your tagging, or what you're liking. and then it
As in your followers growing.
True.
Yeah, so the way Instagram followers grows is through use of hashtags. If people are looking up like hashtag Cambridge, for example, and they see posts from Cambridge, they'll click on images that they like, and if they like the images, they might follow you. So that's why it's probably seen as a nicer network, because people are looking for nice things that they like, rather than Twitter, they might follow someone says something they like, and they just troll. Any more questions on hashtags or anything? LinkedIn, does anybody use LinkedIn out of interest? One or two, yeah? How do you use LinkedIn?
I can work for a corporate.
Okay. Which company do you work for, sorry?
Oh, wait, my wife owns the Policy Independence.
Okay,
But I use it for trying to find out who to talk to yourself.
fair enough, yeah. Anyone else? Yeah?
We work for a men's catering company, so we use LinkedIn to find men in business who need to.
Wicked. We've got a tailor in London we work with, and we did a campaign in London where we were targeting like HR and office managers of big corporations
Yeah.
to get the tailors to go there.
Okay.
So they would go to and use a meeting room in the large corporation, and then they can get measured up. And
Yeah.
and,
Yeah, we've done something similar in Cambridge actually.
yeah, awesome.
Yeah, LinkedIn works well for us for that.
Which tailors?
Chorter and Dean, down Sussex Street.
Awesome. So yeah, again, all of these, there's more platforms that you might use. Sorry, anybody use Snapchat? No. Okay, interesting. So there are obviously lots of different networks we can use, and there's lots of different audience in each of these. Obviously, LinkedIn is better for businesses and trying to sort of, you know, whether you're doing corporate sessions or corporate days, or you maybe hotels for corporate bookings or event space. Instagram is great for any of you who get the opportunity to show beautiful pictures. Twitter, great for engaging with the community and having conversations. And Facebook is really, I mean, for the majority of you, it's a good one. People can leave reviews on there, you can interact with people, it's a platform for you to grow and gain exposure, and you can sell from it as well. And last but not least, Snapchat for younger audiences, and it's, you know, don't rule it out. If you should maybe have a play with it, see how you get on. But these can all work in some shape or form. And then finally, YouTube. If you're using YouTube already, which is brilliant. So video content, you can embed that content on your website. You can embed it in your blogs, or you might have product videos, overviews of different products or services that you offer, and you can put that all on YouTube. It's a great place to get in front of new audiences and get them into your venues. Next, I want to talk about direct and indirect. Now, I mentioned this earlier, is that with social media, people go on there because they're stalking their friends, or they're looking at how wonderful everyone's lives are. I'm sure you're the same. Anybody got children in here? Anyone look at their Facebook feed and see everybody with their happy children, and then they look over at their child, and their child's having a paddy screaming on the floor? Maybe now yours do. Yours are smiley children, mine aren't. Mine are having the paddies. But yeah, the purpose of what I want to talk about here is creating a strategy and thinking about direct and indirect posts, with the direct post being more about your businesses, selling, what you're stocking, what you do, information about your staff, your team, things like that. But you need to be thinking about the interests of your target audience. So if your target audience like football, you might post something about the FA Cup final. If your target audience likes running, you might post something about Cambridge marathons and things like that happen in the city. If they like music, you might post about the concert on Pulse Peace. But it's really important to understand your users and what they like beyond your world. So if there's TV programs, they like Game of Thrones, then talk about Game of Thrones. Facebook has an algorithm called EdgeRank, and the way it works is if you've got 1,000 people that like your Facebook page, when you post, it doesn't mean 1,000 people are going to see that post. Facebook will determine how many people will see that post based on an algorithm. Now, the algorithm takes into account likes, interactions, shares, comments, and things like that. So if your page is full of, we've got this product, we've got this product, we've got this product, come buy this, come buy this, come buy this, people are going to get bored with it, they're not going to like it, they're not going to share it, they're not going to comment on it. If you've got things like, which is completely relevant to your users, like, did anybody see that episode of Game of Thrones, can't believe that happened, people start commenting on it or something like that nudges your EdgeRank up. So when you go to write a post which is a more direct sales message, that there's going to be a higher percentage of that 1,000 that are going to see that post. Does that make sense?
Sam, that's something which I've always wondered about actually.
Yeah.
Because I kind of thought from sort of a Google perspective, I thought I should be writing specifically about my industry.
Yep.
And Google's some massive machine which can somehow pick up that I'm diverging from the point of my business and then penalise them. But that's definitely not the thing. You should be talking about a broad spectrum of things which are not related to your business.
They're relevant to your target audience, but not necessarily.
So for example, like pulling a viral video off of YouTube,
yep,
and then trying to get it to go viral via your Facebook group, that's fine.
Yeah. If you think your audience would enjoy it, then yeah. The thing about, if you were to write a blog on a load of things that weren't directly relevant to your industry, then that's a different point. The content on your website needs to remain consistent with what you're delivering as a brand. But from a social media perspective, no, you never have a negative impact. No. And probably it's more likely to have a positive impact because the EdgeRank will boost, and that means you'll get more engagement on your branded posts, and therefore you get more traction that way.
As well as the way how it's delivered as well. As I follow a lot of photographers, and a few of them are sponsored by Squarespace. You can see the difference how, let's say in the middle of the video, this is sponsored, they have to kind of mention it. But you can look at one photographer, the way he delivers it, it doesn't feel like he's like a sellout. But when some other person does it, it feels like, it's done by the way you deliver it as well.
And also across the different platforms. So does anybody link their Twitter and their Facebook so when they post on one it comes up on the other? Don't do that. Don't do that. They're different. They're different. Facebook, you've got the opportunity to post in a different way with beautiful videos and multiple pictures and creating galleries and tagging products. Twitter, if you try and do that, it can mess up with your images and it won't come across the way it needs to.
Actually, it's Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah,
Instagram is fine.
They all come out from them.
Instagram and Facebook
On
are
each
fine.
media.
Oh, I see. Just Twitter then.
Yeah, no, I go Instagram to Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook you can put more information on your posts and more detail about it, whereas Twitter is more punchy and short and snappy. So your tone is slightly different on Twitter.
But if you're going to do one on Instagram anyway.
Instagram and Facebook is kind of fine.
Then you do separate ones.
Yeah.
I would still say to do it separately.
I would avoid doing Instagram. Yeah.
Sam, I'd be led to believe that if you're going to post something across two networks, and you should change the wording slightly, so that it doesn't appear to get picked up as the same thing. Is there any truth in that?
I mean, look at it from a user perspective. Who of you follows accounts that you follow on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter? Show of hands. You must follow more than, like, if you follow someone on Twitter, you probably follow on Instagram as well.
You see the
Yeah.
same thing.
No? If you follow someone on Instagram and Facebook, you don't follow the same people? No crossover. Okay, fair enough. Everybody can
Have you
have
got
different
Instagram and
social media.
Twitter? People do.
Yeah.
Because someone can post nice pictures on Instagram.
Yeah.
They talk on Twitter. So
Yeah, but if you saw the same post on an Instagram
Yeah,
and
then it would
Facebook,
be
it would be a bit
boring.
pointless. Yeah. So, think about your target audience, think about the interests of your target audience, and just write them down. You know, what are they like? What are they interested in? Try and get your head out of selling your products and your services, and just getting ahead of your user. Like you would write a above-the-line marketing strategy and think about, you know, what radio stations are they listening to, what TV programs are they watching, those kind of things. Think about it like that a little bit more. Reference your objectives. So when you're thinking about the types of content and the types of posts you might want to do, if you remember we talked about objectives a little bit earlier, you should reference the types of posts with, are they ticking some of these objectives? So it might be CSI, it might be just building interaction with your communities, it might be getting across certain, like you're an expert in a certain field, whatever that might be. Reference your objectives when you're thinking about these types of posts, and do they tick the boxes for you? Okay. Consider timings. I'm going to show you some like an infographic from Sprout Social in a minute about timings. But it does vary from business to business. So think about when you're posting. Think about when you're getting the highest levels of interaction. Unfortunately, you know, for some of you, it might be that the optimum time for you to post, it might be your busiest time of the day in terms of people through the door. So those kind of things have to be considered. Product tagging, which I mentioned, and Instagram shopping is really good, particularly on Facebook as well. So, you know, if you're posting a picture of something which contains all your products, you can tag the product so people can link straight through to the website, or you can encourage them to come to the store and buy. I think a couple of you, I recognise you from previous, you've been to one of mine before, haven't you? Workshops and a couple of others, but I always go on about this book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. Has anybody heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? Anyone know? Gary Vaynerchuk's like social media guru. He's probably one of the most well-known sort of social influencers in the world of social media. And he wrote a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. And that's a very interesting read. It's really easy to digest, but it talks about your jabs being non-marketing messages and your right hook being a marketing message. So information in your right hook might be something like pop into Nano Mexico and print off this voucher to get 10% off your order, something like that. And you might email it to them, so your hook is your data capture, whatever that might be. But it's just thinking about it, so it gets you in the head of not thinking about selling all the time, thinking about what your audience want to see, and then hitting with the sales message. Okay, and hopefully that'll be a knockout punch, and those are people who will come in and buy from you. So I highly recommend that book if any of you, we can get on Audible as well. But it's a very easy read. It does talk also about posting on different networks and the language that you use. It talks about not connecting accounts and whatnot. And it also has examples of different industries like leisure, fashion, all that kind of stuff as well. So it is a useful read. Any questions so far? All good? Cool. So here's this is a Facebook infographic for consumer goods and the optimum times to post. Obviously, you know, this was a study done by Sprout Social from all their accounts, but you know, it could be different for you guys. So, you know, it's a good guide. What I'll do is I'll make sure that I'll provide a link to this to the guys who came to bid so they can share it, so you can have this information. But yeah, this is when everybody sacks off work and doesn't do anything. And then obviously some lunch times. It's like Friday's one permanent lunchtime, isn't it? And then the panic on Monday because they haven't done any work on Friday, so they're playing catch up. But yeah, quite interesting little infographic there to sort of give you an idea of the optimum times of posting and engaging with people. And this one's for Instagram, so a bit more weekend. Wednesday's pretty popular.
They might help.
Yeah.
End of the week.
Maybe
slump.
Yeah. Yeah. Midweek pick me up. Look at how lovely everybody's lives are on Instagram. But yeah, it's quite interesting. And I guess what I want to get across here is for you to have a consideration about it, because what often we see happen with social media is like, oh shit, I post something, and you go online and you post something, but there's not really any consideration to the timing of it. But if you did it 2 hours later, you might get 10 times more interaction or 10 times the exposure levels. So try these things because they can work, and you know, test them and challenge yourself to monitor them and see what happens. Does anybody do that? Does anybody monitor the kind of times they post or anything like that? Yeah. How do you do it? Lunchtime. Yeah. What? Any kind of telltale for you that sort of made you start posting at lunchtime? Was it a try and test it, or was it research driven?
I do it on lunchtime. I go on Instagram at lunchtime. So.
Yeah, that's fair enough. There you go. And all on Friday. Anyone else? Yeah.
Mine's evening, so between 6 and 7, but because I have a kids shop, then it's school, bath, bed, and then that's when they have their evening, so I find that's the best.
Okay, sorry, what do you do?
I sell kids clothing.
Okay, so early evening, which you're finding is good.
I assume it's depending on your business.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because
This isn't foolproof. It's just a study of Sprout Social. That's what, the main thing is you test it and see what works for you. You know, don't take this and do right. I'm gonna. You might want to try some of these, but don't take it as gospel. Try different times.
If I post a landscape photography photo on my Instagram midday, it's like whirlwind, crickets. You post it around 10, 11, 12 in the evening even, or sometimes even 2 in the morning, it goes wild.
Okay. On Instagram, are you hashtagging?
Like not really, as you know, like a year ago they changed the algorithms a lot, so it became more different. Yeah. So. Do you know where the users are liking you from? Yeah, there are a lot of like United States, and a lot from back home, France, like those sort of places. Yeah, I wondered whether there'd be some from the United States. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just try and test and see what works for you. Like, it's interesting, you know that evenings, which is right. You know, once you put the kids to bed, sit down on the sofa, you pick up your phone and catch up on things, check your social media and things like that, which is pretty much exactly what I do as well, and I get a bar of chocolate as well, and cry myself to sleep. They're not like that. They've got terrible twos at the moment, so it's hurting me. So other things to consider are performance tracking. So as mentioned, understanding the best times to post. Does anybody look at this stuff on Facebook, all the insights? Take a look at that, it's quite interesting. You can't break anything, but it sort of tells you sort of the engagement levels of individual posts. And that's a really good starting point for understanding timings, because what you might do is similar posts at different times of the day over different weeks, and then you can compare them in the posts and see, well, which one did I get the most interaction and exposure from. So it will help you to understand that. Page previews, clicks, things like that. You can get them on all the social channels now, but they're very useful, and don't ignore them. You can get hung up on it, you can check these things every day, but that's probably a waste of your time. You might want to review this once a month or once every couple of weeks, because if you could get your head bogged down in the data and forget to do your posts and things like that, so you'd probably be better spending time on the posts and just analysing this once every couple of weeks or 4 weeks. So review the posts that you're doing and see what's working and what's not working. So where did you get victories? Where did you do posts? Has anybody had that post which worked really well for them, really proud of?
Anyone? Yeah? What
It was
happened?
just a really simple picture,
Yeah.
but it was just really effective.
Yeah.
And it just, people just came and wanted to see the
Yeah.
product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's going to be, do you?
No, you
But then it
don't.
happens, and
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yeah?
I did a stupid Sean Bean meme.
Yeah.
I edited it myself,
Yeah.
and it got the most responses we've ever had to anything.
Okay. Which is a jab. It's a jab. It's not. Was it about your business?
Yeah.
Oh, it was about
Well,
your
kind
business.
of. It was one does not simply go to Heifers and buy one book.
Okay.
And it got a really big response.
Fair enough. Yeah. Brilliant. So yeah, have a look at your post and see which one's got you those wins, because it will. With your social strategies, they shouldn't stand still. They should always evolve. People's interests change. The way that we behave changes. So look and see what's working. Take some of the stuff out that isn't working so well. Put some new stuff in, and keep trying it and trying different things. You probably want to review your strategy maybe once every 3 months. So it gives your post time to bed in and see what happens with them and see how effective they are. Anybody use Google Analytics? Show of hands. Not many. There's a few nods, but no hands. Does that mean you kind of use it, but you're not really sure how to use it, but you've heard the name before and the name's on it? Okay, Google Analytics is really important for measuring all of your digital activity, particularly with things like your social media as well, because you can track. If for those of you who sell online or have booking facilities online, you can set goals up, so you can see whether your posts are actually delivering in terms of inquiries or sales. So for those of you that do have Google Analytics, or those of you who don't have Google Analytics in place on your website, I would strongly recommend you add Google Analytics to your website as soon as possible. You can't backdate data, it'll only start tracking from the day you put the code on. For those of you who do have Google Analytics, if you don't have goals or anything set up, it might be something to make a note of. So if you do want me to come and see your businesses, then I'll help you set goals up and some of the more advanced tracking, so you can get some real tangible data from it. But we can see in Google Analytics where our traffic's come from. We can see where it's come from social media, which social media channels, how long those users have stayed on our site. So we get a bit of value back from our work. Because whilst we're not paying to use social media, our time has a value, and that's really important to understand. And if we're doing all this work on social media and we're not understanding the best times to post, and we're not seeing things that are working well for us, and we're not getting traffic through to our website, we have to question whether we're doing it in the right way and the most efficient way possible, because we need to change it up. And Google Analytics is going to be your best friend in figuring out what works and what doesn't work for you. Does anybody have goals set up in Google Analytics at the moment? Show of hands. Terrible behaviour. Okay, well, I'll help you. Those of you that sell online or have bookings online, feel free to grab it in, and we'll book a time and I'll come and set them up for you. Learn and evolve your campaign, very important. Okay, how are we doing for time? Not very well, we've got 15 minutes left. I better talk faster. Okay, Love Cambridge. So, really quick one on this. And you stole my thunder earlier a little bit, haven't you? So supporting each other. So it's a great campaign, it's a great opportunity, and it should encourage all of you to be more interactive with each other on social media. Does everybody in this room follow all the other businesses in this room? Some nods.
On that, so Christian, where are we on the guide of Twitter handles and everything else?
Yeah, so I spent a long time going through all the 250 independent businesses and writing down all their websites and Instagrams and Twitters and Facebooks. So I've got like a massive spreadsheet that I'm going to put online along with Sam's presentation, so everyone can. You don't have to go searching for everyone. You just hopefully just.
I think Christian deserves a round of applause. That's a big bit of work. That's brilliant. That's that bit ticked off then, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll do that. But it's important, we're all part of the same community here, and supporting each other is really important. We can help each other grow, and we can all help each other take our next steps. So make sure you're interacting. Someone posts something that you like the look of, tell them that you like the look of it. Someone posts a picture of an amazing fajita, comment on it. It looks amazing. Whatever it might be, if you see something you like, comment on it. If you get comments on your posts, it's nice, isn't it? It's a nice feeling when someone comments. So
Nice comments.
nice comments only. Yeah, exactly. No trolling.
No.
No trolling. Even if you're slightly competitive with each other, some of you. Share content. So the bottom line is, if we help each other, if you help one person, they might help you back in the future, and things like that. So it's got to start somewhere. So try and be proactive with sharing each other's content, sharing each other's images, liking, engaging, commenting, things like that. It's nice. It's a good thing to do. Review each other. So we're going to talk about reviews in a minute. Now, reviews are important, and I'm probably going to repeat myself in a minute, but you can't cheat with the reviews. You have to. You have to be on a different IP address, a different location, you have to have an account, and if you cheat, then the reviews can quite quickly get removed. But you all know each other's business. A lot of you know each other's products, so you can go to Google Reviews and leave little reviews for each other, and that will benefit you all by leaving those reviews. Positive ones only. Positive ones only. Only 5-star. I once did some one-on-one sessions after. One of these workshops I delivered, and so there was no charge whatsoever. People came along and they came to my office, and I think I gave them an hour or something of just free information, and someone gave me a 4-star review instead of a 5-star review. And I said, I just phoned up and said, I just wondered why you thought it was 4 and not 5. And she said, it was 5, but I didn't know, so I just put 4. So I was like, well, thanks, but maybe you can take it down more. But she put it up to 5. But it's helpful, and it's nice. Reviews are good, and they can really help. And I'll go into that in a bit more detail in a second. Google My Business. Who knows if their business is listed on Google Maps? We've talked about the paper maps, now we're going to talk about the digital maps. I don't think this building is on Google Maps.
No,
it's not. It's a bit new, yeah. Because when I was looking at I was looking on Google and I couldn't find it. So, for those of you, sorry, everybody's on Google Maps, yeah, Google My Business. For those of you who aren't or are not sure, all you need to do is go to Google and type in like Google Business Listing or something like that. You'll see the result at the top there, which I think is Google/EM UK businesses. And you come to this page, which they've now created an app, a mobile app as well. I highly recommend you download that mobile app and get that set up. It's completely free. There's absolutely zero reason why, if you haven't got a smartphone, you shouldn't have this app on your phone, certainly for the business owners here. On Google Business, you will list all your information on here. So you'll have your opening times, and this is growing. So I mentioned earlier Google Plus has gone. A lot of the features that they're trying to push through Google Plus is on Google Business now. So it will tell you things like map views. Now, I'll tell you something about the importance of this. So we work with a hotel in Cambridge, and what we found, their traffic was going down. Although their Google rankings were strong, their traffic was going down. So we were a bit panicked. Why the hell is the traffic going down? What we realised was that the map listings are becoming more and more prominent. And because you can put so much information on them now, people are not needing to even go to websites. You can put menus on there, you can put your prices on there, pictures of your products and things like that. You can click straight to call and book a table. You can click straight through to call up a business and make an inquiry. So it's really, really vitally important that you're on top of this and make sure your information is up to date, relevant, current. And if you're not sure, just log in and check it, download the app, and get onto it. Now, the other things you can do now with Google Business Listings is you can actually do little posts. So if you've got an offer or something's coming up, you can do little posts on that, and it will come through. So if someone searches your business, or your business comes up in Google, that little bit of information on the right-hand side, which I think I've got on the next slide. Yep, that bit here. There'll be your reviews, but there'll also be questions, and there'll also be little posts if you put little posts up as well. They expire after about 6 days, so they're not permanent static posts. But if you've got an offer or an activity happening, it's really useful to post on here. Really useful. And just back to this, you know, this has data in here which is really useful, like how many times your business has appeared on the map result, how many people have clicked on it, the activity around it. You can add photos, you can create ads in here. There's all these things like post info, insights, reviews, messages. So it's a really good thing to do. Yeah.
Is that how you change the image that default that comes up on the side? Ah, that's good.
The amount of people that phone me up about that, yeah, you can delete them.
Ours
and
is such
stuff,
an
yeah.
old photo. I've tried so many times to change it.
Yeah, you can delete them. The only problem is because it is partly user generated, so if someone then posts another picture, there's a chance that that will come up and overwrite it, and then you have to shuffle them around again. But yeah, exactly
I
right.
am not able to change the main picture though.
Delete
I've never been able to
them.
delete it. No, I can delete everything else. No.
Make a note, I'll have a look when
Yeah,
if
I
you
can
put this
delete
on.
everything else,
I'll
but the
come
main picture, which I would want to change occasionally, maybe
Yeah.
seasonally being a fashion business.
Yeah.
I can't delete it, it just will not let me.
That's what happened to me.
Yeah, yeah.
I just couldn't figure it out.
That's a common problem, and the other common problem that we see is duplicate addresses and old businesses, which is another problem which is it's a pain. It's a pain.
No.
But for those of you who aren't using this, I highly recommend you use it. For those of you, most of your businesses I believe are coming up on the maps, so it's definitely worth ensuring that you're in control of this. What happens if you're not in control of it, you can claim it and they send a PIN code to your business and you have to log in with that PIN code and then you've got access to everything. But before you register your business, just check whether it's coming up first, and if it is coming up but you don't have the logins, you can claim it. Yes, you can. You can register more than one location and you can have multiple stores on there if you want. Yeah, and so they're all managed under the same login details. Any questions on that? That'll work. Yeah, I mean, they're supposed to do, the simple process is supposed to be just send you a postcard, you get a pin and then that's it, but yeah, it doesn't always work that way. So this is what it looks like on the front. So you've got reviews, you've got information, address, closing times, open times, phone numbers, website, business details. So you can see that sort of element of Google is really beneficial to us, and it can really help get people through the door, get people to our websites, get people phoning up. So you know, it's something not to ignore. Voice search. Who does much voice search? Not yet. I'm going to show you this quick video. I don't know whether the sound's going to work, but we'll give it a go.
What is reading today? Water. Yeah. Oh my God, that's it. It says yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's her. Oh my God. Is it on? Yeah. I'm glad to meet you. What is this thing? Hello, Google.
Hey, you're okay.
There's something from the house.
We have to say hey, Google, or okay.
Hey, Google. Okay, Google.
Yeah.
What's the weather, ask?
What the weather? You want to know what is the weather? Tomorrow.
In Flagler Beach tomorrow, there will be showers with a high of 65 and a low of 56.
I'm scared. Oh my gosh.
Ask Google to play an Italian song.
Cuckoo. Hey, cuckoo.
Say hey or okay?
Hey, okay.
Tomorrow in London, it will be sunny with a high of 41 and a low of 30.
The temperature in London.
No, I asked you to play your favorite song.
Play your favorite song.
Cuckoo. Cuckoo.
Yeah, you're.
That's the future. No, I think voice search is very, very, very important, especially for you as local businesses. I was driving along the other day and listened to Radio 1 and Greg James kept saying 2 words. And every time I said those 2 words, my phone started going off and it was really annoying because I have my navigation on my phone, which is, I'll spell H-E-Y space S-I-R-I. Hey Siri. But every time you said it, my phone kicked it in and tried to do something. Now, some people I speak to about voice devices like Amazon Alexas and Google Homes are like, no, I don't want them because they can, you know, I don't want people listening to me. If any of you have got iPhones, unless you've switched it off, you say those magic words of, "Hey Siri," then your phone will become active. What is a fun thing to do is if you're at a meeting with a load of people around the table with their phones out, is to say, "Siri," and then ask it to send a message to some random person and see what happens, which is quite fun. But voice search for local businesses is the most important thing for you to consider moving forward into the future. All of the phone devices now have, all the smartphones have some kind of voice facility, whether it's Google Assistant or Siri. There's people buying Alexas and Google Homes and HomePods at a ridiculous rate. Now, where there's an opportunity is for people so those kind of terms, and this ties in with reviews, is where is the best place to get some Mexican food? Where is the best place to get my haircut? Where is the best hotel in Cambridge? Where is the best shop in Cambridge to buy a bag? Where is the best shop in Cambridge to get a tailored suit? Those kind of things are very common search queries that are on the up. Those kind of voice FAQ style questions. Now, people will ask those questions and they'll ask the directions and they'll come to your shops and they'll go to your websites by those kind of terms. This works better for local businesses because people often ask in relation to a location. You won't say, you wouldn't necessarily say, for the bigger brands, you wouldn't necessarily say the sort of terms you're looking for, things that you're not sure what you're looking for, what the exact building or premises or type of business you're looking for. So voice search can work really well in your favour. So I'm going to talk about, I'm running out of time, sorry guys. I'll talk really quickly because I know it's getting late. So things to consider for voice optimization. Google Business Listing, which I just talked about, you need to make sure you're set up with that and it needs to be correct. Something called microdata markup. Anybody know what that is? No. Okay, so microdata markup is a little bit of code that goes on your website and they're developing it further and further. So the things that you'll see, more and more results in Google are coming up through Google, the answers coming up in Google, so you don't even go to the website. So if you're looking for jobs, for example, jobs are coming up within Google. If you're looking for hotels, booking systems are coming up within Google. If you're looking for flights, they're coming up within Google. You don't even have to go to a website. So microdata markup is becoming more and more and more important. The next level, and the things that we're working a lot on with people, are things like FAQ-based content. So we've got a client who's a tailor in London, and we're working on things like, how many buttons should I do up on my jacket? Can I wear a striped tie with a check shirt? These tiny little questions, which some people know the answer to and some people don't, but there are people who Google, can I wear brown shoes with a black suit? All those kind of things. So small questions with small answers. We're not talking about 400-word blogs here, we're talking about small bits of content. Now, the next type of microdata markup that's coming from Google is FAQ. So it means that we tag it correctly and we've got this opportunity to capture this these local search queries. So it can be really beneficial for you. So keep that in the back of your mind, or in the front, you should bring it in the front of your mind actually. It's really important for you to be considering that moving forward. With the microdata markup code, it is a little bit technical. Show of hands, who's on something? WordPress? WordPress owners, website owners? Okay, one, be a little bit difficult then. Anyone custom builds? Websites, no? Anyone got Squarespace or anything like that? Yeah. Any other website providers people are on?
Shopify.
Shopify, okay. Should have it in there. Most of the open source platforms like Shopify, GoDaddy, things like that, they should have the opportunity to add microdata markup. If they don't, you Google it and there'll be... The important thing is you know the term, and microdata markup or schema markup it's also called. And a lot of websites have a little plugin or something you can plug into your website and it makes it very simple for you. But it's really important you don't need to know the technicalities about it, but you need to know that it exists, and that is the thing that helps you take this next step with things like voice. Yep.
So with that microdata markup, you get the plugin, the WordPress. Where does that appear in the website?
So on your page or your post, there'll be another box that comes up, and you just select what type of thing it is, whether it's a review or who the author is of the post or something like that. The user won't see it. It won't be appear on your page, so to speak. It's hidden in code, and that allows people to understand what that page is about.
Okay.
So you have to put the questions in?
Yeah, you've got to write the FAQs. Yeah. But the thing about that is about volume, so you might just do a brain dump, think of all the common questions that people ask you, and put them on a list and just work your way through them. So think of Q&A style content, think about how people speak as opposed to how people type, because we speak in a very different way when we're asking questions. And your website should have photo and mobile usability, because it helps not only people get to your website, but then to find your contact pages and walk through the door of your physical premises. Here's some examples of so how to get features. So feature snippet, just to show you, is things like this. So this is a review markup with a star rating. Okay, so that's a review markup. Then here's a review markup, and it's also got a markup in terms of time it takes and calories for a recipe. And the next up is what's called a featured snippet. So when you search for something, information comes up at the top of Google. Everything's there for you. This is where you can get some wins. It's quite a good strategy for local businesses and independents to engage in. So it's really important to consider those things, and really important to start, whilst there is technical elements there, getting that through is important. Right, just quickly finding reviews. Anybody involved in a review strategy at the moment? I have had a look at a few of your sites, and some of you have got loads of reviews, which is brilliant. No, nobody's actively pursuing reviews for companies.
So your dining tastes are good then, Sam?
So this is a search query for restaurants Cambridge. So this obviously takes into account the location of where I was searching, but you see star ratings. We trust these star ratings. I've got some data in a minute. This is what I was talking about. I mean, this is hotels booking within Google. This is in Google. So not even going to a separate site here. Again, the reviews. I don't know about you guys, but for me, the reviews are vital. If one of them said, if they said 2-star, I wouldn't even go near it. But if above 4, they've got me. I'm happy. And this also relates to voice search, because if you're asking questions about where is the best, Google is going to reference your reviews and still use that as a marker. So closed shops, it's just I've done 3 different searches there, and each one of them, the first thing that you see is map listings, which is the Google business listings, and reviews. So they're, I just wanted to stress how important they are. So here's some stats. Negative online reviews change 80% of shoppers' minds. 24% of internet users access online reviews before paying for a service offline. And 89% of consumers trust the accuracy of review websites. We can spot a nonsense review. I think it's pretty easy, but it's important. It's important to be proactive with this. So, how do we achieve it? We've got to try. I've set a target of aiming for those who don't have reviews yet, aiming for at least 30. Don't cheat because you get found out and they just get deleted. Implement it as part of your process. So, this is marketing now. So, it should be. We get a customer, we ask them for feedback, and we point them to a review website. Provide incentives where legitimate. Be proactive and not reactive. The amount of times I get people phoning me up saying, we've had a bad review, how do we get rid of it? If you've got 20 good reviews and you've got one idiot customer who clearly was wrong, and they've leave a bad review for you, that review will get drowned out by the 20 positive. But then if you don't have those 20 positive and someone leaves a bad review for you, when you go to people to ask them to leave a review, they'll see that one bad review and that will stand out to them. Where when it's one of 20, it will get ignored and disregarded as an anomaly. So be proactive, not reactive with it, and really encourage positive sentiment with your customers. Look to Google directly for a review. So with your Google business listing set up, you can direct people to that. That's the best one because it automatically will start helping you with your map results, and also if you do ad campaigns in the future, we'll talk through. There are other sites like Trustpilot, FIFO, Reviews.co.uk, Shopzilla, there's loads of them. I mean, Trustpilot is an extortionate amount of money. I think it's close to £1,000 a month to use their platform, but you don't need to pay for these sites. A lot of them allow you to point at customers to leave reviews. And that is it. Any questions?